Hello lads and lasses, and welcome back to the channel. So today we are talking about the centre back problem we have. We're going to be talking about which centre backs I think we should actually bring in. I have 5 centre backs on this list. One of them apparently is on our radar to sign this season. 2 were mentioned on the NUFC blogcast, which will be linked below, and the other 2 are who me and my brother think we should bring in as either Shaw replacements or to play behind Shaw, as we do have all these competitions to compete in. They're going to be that next level sort of centre back. Now, some criteria they've got to hit is they've got to be good on the ball, they've got to be able to pass the long range, and they've got to be right footed is pretty much the criteria we had. It helps if they've had Champions League game time. So before we get in any of that though, if you are new around here, if you find yourself here quite often, do go down below, do hit that subscribe, do hit like while you're down there, hit that notification button, all that fun little jazz. Let's get into these centre backs. So the first centre back on this list is someone I said is on our radar to sign. Apparently, that's just a rumour, that might not be true, but it would be a decent signing. It's a man that goes by the name of Oumar Soleil. He is a French centre back who's currently playing for Red Bull Salzburg over in Austria. He's 23 years old and he's only worth about 17 million, so quite a cheap signing for the kind of money that we might be able to actually spend. It means we can bring the likes of Livramento in. If we do bring Livramento in, we probably will need a cheaper option at centre back. He's 6'2", and he can also play as a defensive midfielder. He's played a couple of games there, not a lot this past season, but he can play that, and it shows. He's quite similar to Shaw in the way he can spray the ball, the way he can carry it. He's good physically, trying to get players off the ball. He has great skill, and it shows that he can play defensive midfielder. He's just like Mbemba used to be. Can carry that ball forward, can go on those centre-back runs, but can also spray the ball like Shaw can. He doesn't go to ground a lot to make a tackle, which I personally think is very good. It causes a lot of cards going to ground. It can be quite dangerous, so if you can stand up a defender, tackle him standing up and then take the ball away, that's fantastic. That's what we need. And he stays with the defender well, so he's not easily shaken off when a player's dribbling. He can follow the ball well, he follows the player well. So that would be a good sign to make. Now, regarding games, I'm only using games played last season. I'm not using games played before that. So if they didn't play in the Champions League last season, but they played in the season before, doesn't matter. I haven't looked at that. So last season, Oumar Soleil played in 4 Champions League games. No goals, no cards, which is fantastic. We want a player who's not picking up lots of cards. He did, however, play 25 league games. He played 33 games overall, so that includes the 4 Champions League games. Got 5 yellow cards, which would only result in a 1-match suspension, which is quite good. And he also got a goal and assist, which is, it's all right enough. Playing those long balls, you'll probably might even get a few more assists depending on how we play this season. The only problem with him that I found is he actually was 7 games with an injury. That is a spider. No thanks. Go. So the only problem I found is that he did miss 7 games last season due to injury. They were, I think, hamstring and something else. So he missed like 4 games with a hamstring injury, 3 games with a different one, which is all right. I mean, we would prefer getting someone who isn't going to be going down injured, especially with Shaw picking up that injury this pre-season. Being at the age that he is, that probably is going to be a reoccurring problem. But 7 games missed is not the end of the world. It's something we can work around. The second player that would be a good signing to make is the first of the NUFC broadcast suggestions. They were having their chat on the latest broadcast. Someone was talking to someone else. They suggested some players. I've done some research on them. So the first one is Antonio Silva, Portuguese centre-back playing at Benfica. He's only 19 years old. He is more of an expensive option. He is £45 million. He does stand at 6'1", but £45 million is a lot to be spending on a player. But he is proven in the Portuguese league. He's a danger from set pieces. He has, what is it, three league goals? Give us a second. Yes, three league goals all came from set pieces. So that could be helpful to our set pieces, as we don't get a lot from them. Dan Burn, surprisingly, doesn't score a lot. but it's something we can work around. He's fantastic on the ball, so you can dribble. So you can dribble. You can pass the ball. His passing range is quite good. You can obviously play that. The spider's back. Get away! Jesus. So he's strong on the ball. He's also strong off it, getting players off the ball so he can get the ball back. He has great anticipation in his tackles, so he knows when to perform stand tackle. He knows when sliding in is going to be okay. As I said, he can play the long ball, but he can also play the short and intermediate balls. He's got a good range of passing. He's fantastic in one-on-ones from what I've seen. He gets stuck in. He's very rarely dribbled past. And he's got good recovery speed, so he's a fast player, which is what we're looking for. All of these players have some speed to them. So he's a fast player. He can get back to wherever these players are to recover a ball, to put a tackle in. So, Champions League, he actually played 10 Champions League games last season. Got 2 goals in there and 1 yellow card, which again, really good. He played 46 games overall last year, 30 of them being in the league, so he's played 30 league games, 10 Champions League, and then 6 cup games. He got 3 goals, 5 yellow cards in the league, which is alright. It's a match suspension. We want to try and condense that down so it doesn't happen, so we're not having to play the likes of Shaw and Lascelles in like important games, but it's something we can work around, as I've said. So that would be the first suggestion from NUFC Blogcast. The second would be Giorgio Scalvini, who's an Atalanta centre-back. He's an Italian defender. He is 19 years old, so another young one. He'll cost a little bit less. He'll cost £40 million this time. Bringing in Scalvini could also help Tonali, with them both being Italian. That's another bonus to bringing in someone like Scalvini. He's 6'3", so he's tall. I think he's the tallest defender we've got on this list. But he can also play as a defensive midfielder, and again, it shows when he's playing centre back. He's a great stand-up defender, which a lot of defensive midfielders are. He has great strength and physicality. He's very good at getting players off the ball, just using his strength. And because he can also play defensive midfielder, he can play the long ball from defence or from midfield, but he can also shoot. He can find the shot. He's decent at finding goal, and he's amazing on the ball. So he can dribble again, like Mbemba used to do. He also used to play a bit of defensive midfield, but that was more for his national team. Scalvini played 4 games at defensive midfielder for Atalanta this season. So yeah, he's good on the ball. He can dribble. He's not the most skillful midfielder, but we're not looking for skillful defenders, because that is where we'll be playing him after all. He's not scared to put a foot in, again, making those tackles. He didn't play in the Champions League last season, but he did play 34 games overall, 30 of them as a centre-back, 4 of them as a defensive midfielder. I'm sure that would change quite a bit if he is brought to the side. He would just be playing that centre-back role. He played 32 league games, 2 cup games. In the league, he got 2 goals, 1 assist, and 2 yellow cards. So for playing 32 games in the league, only getting 2 yellow cards is very impressive. So the first suggested centre-back from me and my brother would be Maxence Lacroix. He is a good player. He's a Frenchman from Wolfsburg, obviously centre-back. He's 23 years old, so he's a bit older, but that means he's a bit cheaper. He's about £17 million, which again, if we're bringing in Livramento, we can't spend the 40-45 mil on Antonio Silva or Giorgio Scalvini. It's a player we should look at. It's a cheaper option. He's 6'2", so a little bit taller. He has good pace, as all of these centre-backs do, and as Shaw showed that we need. He's got good anticipation, whether it's before making the tackle or a lot of the time making an interception. He reads the ball very well. He's able to get in the right position. He has good strength to, of course, take players off the ball. He also has a good passing range. Not only does he have a good passing range, he can do it with either foot. So he's a right-foot player, but he can use his left foot to spray balls across the field, which is very, very good for a defender to have. It's unusual. I think it'll be beneficial if we did bring him in. Probably the most beneficial part of his game would be his ability to use his weak foot. Of course, he can move with the ball. He's very good at getting the ball at his feet after a tackle and then moving forward with it, moving onto the attack. It's something I noticed. Again, he did not play in the Champions League last season, and he only ended up playing 24 games in the league for Wolfsburg. He also played 2 cup games. He got a goal and only 1 yellow, so playing 26 games and getting 1 yellow, very impressive. He was injured for the last 4 games of the season with a shoulder injury, so that is something we would have to keep an eye on, because that is something he is just coming back from now. But apart from that, I think his game is very good and would complement bless me, would complement the side very much. And then finally, the last suggestion from me and the brother would be Jeremiah St. Just, the Dutch centre-back for Spawn, so another player playing in the Portuguese league. He's a bit older, he's 26 years old, so it's not the sort of age range we're looking for at the moment, but it is something I think we could work around, even if he is just here for a couple of years filling in. He's probably be the youngest centre-back on that right-hand side that isn't an academy player. He is only worth 30 mil, as he is 26. In his prime, and he's 6'1". Compared to the other centre-backs, his highlights actually showed him being good in the air, which in this league, not amazingly needed. A lot of ball is played along the floor, but having him good in the air is good for free kicks, corners and whatnot. He's a really good tackler, he has fantastic pace, he can recover really well, he can get away from defenders in tight spaces, so if he's just won the ball and there's an attacker in front of him, he can find a way to get around him, and that's helped by the fact he can also play right back, which I'll talk about in a second. And again, he's got his good passing range. His weak foot might not be there like Croy, but his passing range is still there. He played 4 Champions League games last season, got 1 yellow card. He played 21 league games, got a goal and assist, and only 3 yellow cards in 21 games. I thought was quite impressive. So he played 32 games overall last season. 24 of them was as centre-back, and the rest was actually at right back. So he can push over, can't play that right back role, and I think that's helped by his pace. But he did miss 19 games last season due to injury. There was a couple of injuries it had. I think it might have just been 2 or 3, but that is 19 games out of the season that he's missed. So that would be a worry. That would be his only no-no to bringing him in. At that in his age, I guess, going into his prime, coming off a 19-game injury season, isn't what you want. But it's something, again, we can work around. We'd still have Shaw, we still have Lascelles. I'm sure we'll get some game time. Yes, they're the suggestions we've came up with. If I had to pick one, it would probably be Antonio Silva. I think he has the most upside to him. Just a plain old centre-back who does centre-back things. But I would also think about bringing in Maxence Lacroix if we did need the cheaper option, bringing in Livramento, taking all the money away. Maxence Lacroix, £17 million compared to 45, quite a big difference. So that would be my other choice if we needed the cheaper option. Again, he can use both feet, I think is the most outstanding thing about his game, and the main reason to bring him in. So yes, that is the suggestions I have there, the 5 players I think we could bring in at centre-back. What is your opinions? Tell us down below. While you're down there, you may as well hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and again, do leave a like. We are trying to hit 200 by the end of the year. Yes, that is everything for today. Thank you for coming along. I'll see you in a bit, pal.